All right, you guys, I'm back. I went a bit of a road trip, got picked up by a boat in Howe Sound by a buddy of mine, Steve Armitage, who lives on Gambier Island. He's raising a young family there, and they have an extreme wolf problem going on right now. So I went over there to check it out and see if we could call some of those wolves up. And in the meantime, I remember that Steve had come across some Sasquatch prints in the snow on that island. And so I decided, what the hell, I gotta actually have somebody here with me for a change. I'll set up the camera and let her rip. And I'll admit it, this was this morning actually, and we hadn't hung out for quite a while, and there's just the two of us there on the island at their house. So we definitely got into a few beers the night previous, so we're kind of slow this morning. This isn't a very common occurrence, but definitely had fun. And but it's just interesting for me to talk to someone on the camera who had come across footprints of these things innocently without knowing anything about them before and not being some kind of an avid seeker of these things. Just came across it and took a photograph, and I share the photograph in the video as well. So, and I also just ran the camera a little bit on the boat ride home this morning just to let a lot of you people know exactly what the country looks like around where we live here. And across on either side of these waters here during the boat ride, there is numerous reports, numerous Sasquatch sighting reports and screams and all sorts. You know, basically the whole ball of wax goes on right here in these hills, these mountains, all the time. So here you go. Enjoy the conversation we had, and I think I will as well add in another story at the end of this and tack it on. And because I have to attempt to fly across Canada tomorrow until Monday, and I'll be back again. So here we go. All right, so where are we? We are on Gambier Island, and this is my buddy Steve Armitage. How long have we known each other? About
20 years.
Jesus, really?
20 years.
God. Crazy. So anyway, we're on Gambier Island, and that noise in the background is, what is it again? Port Mellon? Is it Pulp Mill?
Yeah.
Pretty noisy. And we're up here checking out a major wolf, I don't know, what do you call it? Wolf invasion?
Yep.
How many dogs have you had so far in yards?
3.
Right out of the yards.
Right out of the yards, yeah.
And you had, oh yeah, you got to send me that picture of the wolf in your yard.
Yes.
Or did you? You texted it to me, right?
I texted to you, yeah. I
got
can get it to you again.
All right, I'll throw it on here. So you got wolves coming right in your yard. You got 2 little kids.
Yeah.
And you got a dog.
And I got a dog, yeah.
How's that feeling?
A little bit on edge, actually.
It's gonna suck, eh?
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, you don't hate wolves, but they got to be taken care of. But anyway, aside from the wolf topic, so you remember, normally I get lots of pictures and stories sent in to me about these damn Sasquatch things, right? And then I rarely ever have anybody on the camera that that's sent me something, you know what I mean? Like, Anyway, I'm babbling. But so how long ago did you find that footprint?
That footprint we found in 2009, I believe.
Here.
Yeah, it was here, just up in the pass here.
I'll videotape it. Which way is it going again?
Goes right up to Gambier Lake. We were on our trials bikes, and there's a couple patches of snow, and we found the oddest footprints I've ever witnessed.
You're not looking for them.
I wasn't looking for them.
No, we thought about Sasquatch or looking into them or anything, right?
No, we're clearing blowdown down out of the trails, and we came across these tracks that were just immensely huge, barefoot, and the stride in the tracks was easily 6 feet, 6-foot strides. It was bizarre.
That's crazy.
We had no idea what it could have been. Like a naked dude running through the woods. There's
a naked big dude.
Yeah, like the size, the footprint size was easily bigger than my moto boot by a couple inches. I took pictures. I sent them off to you. But it was something absolutely bizarre.
You guys,
the hair stood up on our necks, man. We were like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Is that crazy? Like, it must be. I remember what it was like when I seen that thing. I mean, it's here to the top of that hill right here in front of me.
Yeah.
On a rock looking at me. That was a shitty experience, right? But
yeah.
What's it like to come across that and not... Like, there's a lot of people out there that are right into this topic and they go looking for things all the time and shit, right?
Yeah.
But what was it like to not like you probably never even thought of those things ever before that? You know
No,
what I mean?
not at all, man.
Didn't
it was
give a
the
crap.
furthest thing from my mind. But
So what's that like? Having that state of mind, you're not into it. You've never looked into the stupid things. I shouldn't say that. I'll cut that out. So you've never looked into the things before ever, and then you see that. What was that? Was it scary, or does it make you nervous, or was it just make you go, "What the hell?" Or what's
yeah,
it feel
it was
like?
sort of a nervous feeling. I mean, we didn't know what the heck could be running through the woods there at the time. Wasn't really too concerned. I didn't at the time have too much knowledge about the possibility of that creature existing and the dangers of it. So at the time we weren't overly scared, but we definitely were concerned that was something unworldly.
Yeah, run around your backyard.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Which way is it going in that pass?
It was headed uphill, in between the two mountains, Mount Liddell, Mount Killam here.
Also, it was on this side.
And
of that pass
it was moving at a good speed. If it was a huge creature, the stride is immense. Like the stride was so far that what the.
Weird, eh?
Yeah.
So it was coming up out of this timber here.
It was coming up it was going up towards the east side of the island, so it was headed
From this
that
direction.
way. Yeah, from this direction here. Yeah. So it was using this trail here. So.
Crazy.
So it was somewhat recent at the time because it was walking on snowpack. So the barefoot too.
What'd you guys do?
I think we just finished our day up and we went down. I think we weren't really.
Oh, did you?
We weren't fearing for our lives by any
Yeah.
means, but we definitely knew something that was bizarre. And the young fella that found the track with me can attest to how bizarre it was.
Yeah.
He's around here too.
So you hear about anybody else seeing these things ever?
No, I have not.
Do you ever think about them?
I think about them now.
That's kind of hard not to, eh? After you see that, when you see the
Yeah, man, it's bizarre.
signs yourself.
Yeah, you have the picture. The pictures I think I see two
Yeah, I got
pictures. Yeah, I've got it on one of my old phones. I never transferred it over, but
Oh no, I got it. I don't delete that
it's
stuff. I'll share it on here.
it's barefoot, man, in the middle of the woods in winter. It was
Crazy.
March, I believe, 2009.
Well, there's piles of sightings right over here on the other side of the water there.
Yeah,
Gibson Seashell. There's this funny taxidermist friend of mine. We were fishing for sturgeon, and the guy's hunted everywhere, knows everybody.
Yeah.
And I always ask everybody, "So you ever see or hear about Bigfoot?" And you just go like this, "Nope."
Mm-hmm.
And it's obvious. All right, well, I'm not even going to push the topic. It's not into it. Whatever. Then all of a sudden, about a year later, I come home and there's a bucket of plaster Paris mix with a note on it how to use it from him because his best friend was right up here hunting, and one of these things walked right across the rock slide in front of him. Right? And all of a sudden he went from didn't want to talk to me about it, but his best friend, I guess, is credible enough. Whatever, that's okay. I'm not offended or anything.
Yeah.
But it's funny how fast, the good thing is there's credible people out there that see this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's close to your friend wouldn't even question for a second.
Yeah.
Like he told me that, I wouldn't say, you made it yourself. It's not a question in my mind. You saw what you saw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't make that shit up, and why would you?
Exactly.
And it's pretty tough to make that up.
Yeah.
In snow?
Yeah.
But
No kidding.
I don't really give a crap about that or anybody who doesn't believe in these things. But the only reason I'm doing this is just for all the people that have seen these things and they got nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
Or the people who get shit on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get ridiculed for what they've seen, right? So.
Like, you imagine if you guys went up there, saw that, and then you check your phone, whatever, you're down at the dock or a group of people, hey, check this out, and then somebody laughs in your face and calls you a liar.
No one that has seen that picture laughed in my face, though.
But you imagine what it
When
must
they
be like if
yeah.
somebody did?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You imagine that?
Yeah. The picture that I took is just too convincing that it's something odd.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and I've showed a few people it at the time. It was bizarre.
Anyway, so there you go. There's a first-hand, her first-hand description of somebody finding a track besides me. And then so I chuck this in here while I'm up here looking at this wolf problem for these guys. There you go. There's another one. All right, so there you go. There was Steve's experience, and interesting to talk to him about it and share the photograph with you guys. Now I'm going to add in this story here for you all now. So here you go. Listen to this one. All right. So I added in some B-roll in here. I took a bunch of video clips that I filmed a few years back when I helped some guys out on an elk hunt in a place called McNabb Creek, which is real close to where I was this morning, across from Gambier Island. And there has been sightings in these hills here as well. But anyway, enjoy some of these visuals while I share this not-so-fun experience from a first responder. Listen to this one. Steve, thank you for what you, David, and Scott have done, for bringing these things to light in the world and bringing people together. I give credit where credit is due. Awesome job, and thank you very much. I've been following on YouTube since you started this project. A little bit about myself before I state my encounters. I've been a firefighter for over 25 years, retiring at the rank of captain. Have worked previously in law enforcement, and at this time again in law enforcement division now. I train and breed German Shepherds for many years. Been an outdoorsman all my life, hunting, fishing, hiking, caving, and just exploring the outdoors. You get the picture. Never telling this before publicly. I've told a few others over the years, and I've had a mindset I don't give a shit what people think or feel because I know I encountered something unnatural, and it changed my perspective of the outdoors. If anyone says I'm a liar, I'll bust your lip because I will never fear them as much as what I encountered, and that is a fact. Feel free to use my name if you decide to share my story. I did alter my friend's name in respect. Here it goes. A friend I will call Tim and I decided to ride the ATV at night, a cool November night, 1997, but clear. This was a normal thing for Tim and I, which we rode horses, camped, hiked, and hunted together. We doubled on my ATV because his wasn't at my house at the time. We live in northwest Georgia at the foothills of Lookout Mountain. We were riding on a very old logging road on the side of Lookout Mountain, which was our hunting ground since childhood. We reached a point about 3/4 way up the mountain and stopped for a break. I had my HT radio to check in at the house with the wife, which we do, status check. As looking down the mountain, we could see direct line of sight to the house, which is about a mile. 1.5 as a crow flies. We made contact, but strangely the radio became static and broke communication. No biggie, I thought. So Tim and I decided to return back down the old logging road, and being a new ATV at the time, Tim wanted to drive it, just a normal thing, when us guys get a new toy. We reached the base of the mountain next to a field in which a mountain wash was in between us and the field where we entered the deep woods earlier. Okay, being on flat ground, very slow speed, the ATV flipped from rear to front violently. We overturned. We were both shook up, scuffled a little, but not injured. I stated, "What the F happened?" I thought Tim had hit a deep stump hole or something, but no, the ground is flat in the logging road. Tim couldn't explain it either, why we flipped from the rear to the front so quickly. We started laughing about the oh well and carry on mindset. We turned the ATV back on all 4 tires, and it being a 4x4 Yamaha Kodiak was a very heavy ATV. Still giggling about what just happened, and suddenly, a loud scream holler. The scream was so loud I could feel the vibration in me. It was like surround sound loud, not a bobcat, coyote, bear, owl, or peacock. We were both froze in place. Never hearing anything like this before. It was a fear I cannot explain. Overwhelming fear. Not like the fear from skydiving for the first time. It's worse. The fear is like your soul is going to be dismembered. It was like time stopped and in a vacuum, the air stagnant. Like the moments before lightning strikes. Time froze, paralyzed. For how long? I cannot recall. I said to Tim, "Let's get the F out of here." As we mounted back on the ATV, something caught my eye between the starlight and the reflective light from the ATV's headlight from the trees. I saw a figure of at least 9 feet tall and broad on 2 legs with reddish eyes reflecting light from the ATV. This was no damn bear. I knew this. I yelled to Tim, "Go, go, go," in which he did, crossing the mountain wash and into the wide open pasture, Tim changing gears as fast as possible. I was looking over to my right and behind to see if we were being preceded. Yes, we were, but this large, dark figure going from 2 legs to 4. Its arms were assisting its running or pursuit at us. At this point, in 5th gear approximately, and at 50 miles plus an hour, this creature was gaining on us, which I could see from the starlight in the open pasture. In fear of our lives, I unholstered my 9mm, which I knew was completely undergunned. Yes, it is hard to shoot from a moving ATV, but I felt I did not have a choice. I aimed center mass and began firing at this creature, which was about 25 to 30 yards and gaining on us. I was going to empty the magazine until I was empty firing. The creature began to veer off and then disappeared into the darkness. I could not tell the color of this creature, dark and massive muscular moves at a speed and a stride unbelievable, like watching something on a sci-fi flick, I guess like the movie Predator. Meanwhile, Tim was driving the hell of the ATV. We returned to my house. Shook up, trying to explain to our wives and my brother. They couldn't comprehend what happened to us. Hell, we couldn't either. Then I didn't have a clue at the time over the years in my own investigation and research. I have a more knowledge and know people are open and hearing other people's encounters. It's amazing the similarities. Tim and I discussed this incident a few times and how the ATV flipped the way it did. If that creature came from behind and flipped that thing like a toy with the weight of the ATV and two grown men on it, imagine the strength of this thing. Hell, it could have ripped us to shreds. We both agree on that, and how we had a Ruger 44 Magnum on the shoulder rig, and he was so frightened he said, I didn't think of it. Heck, he was too busy driving the hell of the ATV. Tim doesn't have much to do with the outdoors after that, and we don't stay in touch much anymore either. Honestly, I think the experience affected him more negative than me. Me? It took a while, but my love for the outdoors I had to somewhat overcome it. But Steve, as you state and others, I am always observing everything when I'm in the outdoors after that because I know something could be there. After that night, I've had other encounters, but not like that night. Something I do with younger folks, or even kids, I try to explain always be aware of surroundings and never go alone in the deeper forest. At least take a dog or two dogs preferably. David Espy. It's Espy? SB. Sorry, Dave, if I pronounced it wrong. ESPY. My last name gets mispronounced all the time. Record note. Steve, I've spent many years to find out what these beings are, and which is so hard. I went from old microfilms and libraries before internet days, but to bring to mind these old stories are still locked away. Researching old newspaper articles is a key back then fake news wasn't quelled as bad. I have talked with people that have encountered these creatures over the years. I build trust with them. I have learned a lot from these people and some have passed on. As far as Sasquatch is a dog man, I don't know what or why this creature attacked us. Maybe territorial? Were we a threat? Spiritual? Honestly, I feel lucky that I wasn't a victim of disappearing like so many others have. I have had other encounters with these creatures since then. I have learned so much over the years. Just brings more questions. Why the cover-up? Why the intimidation? Why the threats? Thousands of people disappearing, from old to young, all walks of life. These are people with families, have no closure. Really sad. If anything we can do, educating people like you, David, and Scott are doing. We must find out why. These creatures aren't ape, aren't monkey, way too smart. Screw their missing link crap. You mentioned about being in Georgia and Alabama. Please let me know when or where. Love to meet you and share notes. If anything, talk about hunting stories. Don't have to talk about the Nephilim all the time. Be safe out there in the woods, and especially around people. They're more dangerous. Godspeed, David Espy. Wow. Well, thank you, sir, for sharing that experience with us. And we're super glad you didn't get harmed and you made it through it. And you're right. There's some questions to be answered. Why are we not being honestly informed? Why are we being lied to? And it's really not, it's not fair, is it? You know, it's like, here's a great example. So where you guys were and that thing flipped your ATV over, why doesn't a man down the road have a choice whether or not he wants to take his family to that same patch of forest for a picnic or a hike the next day? It's just not fair that people aren't aware. It's not fair that people aren't honestly informed. And it's not fair that people don't get the fair chance of whether or not they want to potentially expose them to that experience, especially with children with them. And that is complete bullshit.